Hello, hello. Welcome to Women of War. This is try two. So let hell tremble at the sound of our rising. If you're just logging on, tell me where you are watching from. If you are an OG member of Women of War from over, let's see, year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, let me know if you've been here for a while or if you're new. I would love to welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, my cousin's on here. Hey, Renee, how are you? But we are going to talk about 2024, and we're going to get started hard. We started out talking about hearing God's voice, and y'all know my testimony, walking out this supernatural lifestyle. We talked about the importance of living in community, soul healing or inner healing. We have talked about deliverance, and we have even cast out a few demons. We started fasting back in, let's see, fall 2021. So it's been a long road. So if you are new, just know that was almost 2 years ago. Last year we met in person. We did lots of ministry time. We went through some of the prophetic and very specific things in scripture. We read the whole Bible together. 2024, the mandate is looking a little bit different, but it is no less exciting. We are going to talk about the body, the first portion of the year. I have found that a lot of people are extraordinarily healthy in other ways, but yet their body holds them back, and it is all connected. So 2024, we are starting out strong with 25 days. We are going to reset the body while we renew the mind. We know the only way that we can renew the mind is by the word of God. But there is so much information out there about resetting the body. How many of y'all have seen, is it lagging a little bit on here? How many of y'all have seen all these popular detoxes, or I don't want to call out any like specific thing, maybe like a certain number of days shred, or, just this vitamin pack or this protein pack or all protein, no protein, vegan on Netflix. Like, you have seen it all, and you're just not really sure how the body works and what's going to work for you. So what I want to do is take us down to the basics. Some of y'all know this. Shayna, you know this. I have been a personal trainer for coming on 22 years this year, and I love it. I love it, but I've also seen the good and the bad of the industry. It can be extraordinarily toxic and keep you in unhealthy cycles. But when your spirit is healthy, when you know Jesus, and when you know he's the only one who can, and your identity is rooted and grounded in how he made you and what he made you for, you can actually take care of your body in a really, really natural and organic way. When your soul is healthy, you're not holding on to bitterness and unforgiveness. When you've got boundaries in your life and you make friends, you can take care of your soul, but that still leaves your body. I've talked to so many people who have worked the altar at conferences and things, and they're like, you know what? My body just got tired. My body got tired. And what we don't realize is a lot of times is some of the things that we are putting in our body is poison. And we're like, I can't figure out why I don't feel well. I understand that healing is for today. I understand that Jesus paid it all, but what is going on? I'm so fatigued. And I've got to be honest with you. I really, really struggled releasing this more publicly and more corporately because I have been walking through some health stuff the last 6 months or so. I'm 41 now, and some things have started to change, and I've really had to dial in on what life looks like. And in the process, I've gained weight. Not that. Anything but that. In the process of getting healthy, my body got a little thicker. And is that okay? Yes. It will level out. So as much as I didn't want to go after this with you guys in a more public way while I was dealing with my own health stuff, I want to be obedient to the Lord. And I feel like this actually might be the perfect time to talk about it, is when I know that it has to be him. It has to be him. We have to walk this thing out with the Lord. And the Lord has given us wisdom, not only in scripture, but through science. And unfortunately, we have really distorted things, haven't we? Especially over the last probably 30 years, if you look through history. When the grocery stores started gaining popularity, women started going to work full time back in the, was it 50s and 60s? People were not farming as much depending on the area that you live in. Things started to become quick, TV dinners and things, and we started adding things to our food that are actually working against us. Good morning, Michaela. How are you? So let's talk about the body. I know that you guys are here for reset and renew, and just like I said, you renew your mind by the word of God, but what do I do with my body? Like, should I do this detox? Should I jump on this juice plan? I don't know, but I'm not doing that. I want to teach you how to have a great relationship with food, and we are going to hunker down for 25 days. My goal for you, and I believe it's from the Lord, believe me, this is nothing I would do in my own strength, but I believe what the Lord is asking of us to really take out the distractions, which is why we're not doing social media. Take out the distractions. Take out the excess and say, no matter where you're at, and say, okay, let's start over. Let's see where I'm at. Let's see where I'm at. So I had a couple questions come through, not too many. Maybe y'all kind of know what's going on, but feel free to pop in your questions as we're on this live. And if you're watching the replay, I want you to hashtag replay, and then feel free to ask your questions as well. Although I will be spending my weekend with the family, so I may not get back to all of them after this afternoon. But one of the things that we are doing is we are talking about anti-inflammatory foods. So the first thing that's going to need to go is your restaurants. As you're going with us over the next 25 days, I'm coming after your Chick-fil-A. I'm coming after your convenience foods because we don't really know what's in it. Part of that is going after the seed oils and the things that are inflaming our body. So making everything at home, you can get a better idea about what's going in your body. Now, we're not going crazy, all organic and whatever. We're literally taking it down to the basics because I believe that is what the majority of people need. They just need to go down to the basics. And yes, you could do, all local, free range, organic, grass fed, calorie free, vegan, you know what I'm saying? You could go that route, and that's amazing if you have the margin. This is for the people who are just kind of regular people, and avocado oil is good. Thank you for asking. Just kind of the regular people. I'm a mom with young kids, so we're doing like sporting events and navigating foods that travel versus like concession stands. I know a lot of you are working full time and you're like, I don't even know what this would look like. Some of you guys are doing, well, here, let's start here. Let's start with the food. You want to talk with the food? So one thing that I mentioned, and Krista, if somebody wants to tag her, Krista Ferguson was asking about the 5 cups of veggies. I absolutely mentioned that. That is kind of blanket health-wise what we should be getting. You can do raw veggies. You can do cooked veggies. Now, I did not put that on our bullet point list that I made yesterday because I'm going to leave that up for you. But as much as we are fasting, I need you to make sure that you're eating nutritionally dense food on the days that you are eating. Taking my kids on it, no, but my kids have a general kind of understanding of health and food, and sometimes we go through cycles. So during the Christmas season, we are eating a little bit more sugar, there's more treats on hand, but when it's cold outside, when you're not getting as much exercise and sunshine and all of those things, some of the worst things that you can do for your body is eat a bunch of sugar. and a bunch of processed food and seed oils, things that inflame the body when you're also not getting vitamin D and you're not playing outside and getting your hands in the dirt and things like that. So if I notice that they're not as healthy as they normally are, we absolutely will cut back. But there are going to be things, and I actually brought a bunch of food with me. I don't know if any of y'all shop at Aldi's. If you don't recognize some of these brands, that's why. My middle can't do food dye at all. And so we've had to become very, very savvy in our grocery shopping skills over the last couple of years. And Aldi's has become one of my favorite grocery stores, not just for the price, but the taste and a lot of the ingredients. So my kids eat these. Are these on our Reset and Renew 2024? They're not. And let me tell you why. Crackers are probably going to be out for you. Chips are going to be out for you, just like restaurant foods, because it's got canola oil and soybean oil. It also has high fructose corn syrup. Okay. If you saw my post yesterday and today about making the bread, store-bought bread for the most part is going to be out. It's going to be completely out for us because of the oils and the added sugars. But you can make your own. We're not cutting out food groups, but we are being very careful about the stuff that we are eating, okay? So we're eating lean meats and vegetables. We're eating fruit. We are eating nuts. But when you eat nuts, I want you to make sure, like the ingredients lists on here, you can see I've almost eaten them all, is pecans. That's the only thing. It's just got pecans in here. So these are not roasted. Salt is fine, but they're not salted. Like there's nothing else on them. And we won't even talk about, we won't talk about portions. We're not doing portions in our Women of War Reset and Renew. We're not even talking portions because we're not even going to weigh ourselves. We're not worried about all of that. What we're doing is starting to fix ourselves from the cellular level. We are starting to address our health. Now, one thing that's super popular, and you'll be like, oh, there's barely any calories in it. What about my Coffee Mate? What about my Coffee Mate? There's 0 sugar in it. But guess what is in it? The second ingredient is corn syrup. The next one is canola and soybean oil. So that one's out too, right? So we're not doing that. But what you can do, I know, us 90s girls, you can do a half and half. Okay? So we're limiting our caffeine. We're limiting our dairy. Find out what's the most important thing in your diet and enjoy it. For me, after years of dealing with, I don't know, like the Atkins and the keto and like my brain being all messed up because I was so worried about what size I wore. I grew up in like the Britney Spears era. If anybody else is about 40 years old, all the waif thin models and whatever. And I grew up dieting. Like I really grew up dieting. And I was able to get complete freedom through deliverance and then just changing my habits and changing my relationship with food. So even when the eating disorder wasn't there, there is always a little bit of disordered eating that you've got to make sure that you continue to break through. So for me, it would be so easy to cut out like carbs. That's easy. I can do that in my sleep, but I feel like trash and I know it. So for me going into this, part of my preparation was like, okay, I've got to start making my own bread. I've got to figure this out. I know there's a learning curve. So about the last 2 months, and I played with it before years ago, but the last 2 months, I'm like, okay, this is what I need for Christmas. This is what I need to kind of get things in order so that on the days that we're not fasting in January, I can have a piece of bread and it's totally fine. It's totally fine. So let's see. So yeah, the kids are on their own. When we make changes, especially as women, we've just got to make sure that we're dealing with our own stuff first. So January is about us. Now, if you want to make fresh bread and somebody wants a taste of it, absolutely. But I'm not going to take your store-bought bread away in the process of me getting healthy. Okay. That same thing for everything. Let's see here. What else is important? Fasting at dinner was another question. So I've got young kids and, Casey, the girl that asked the question about fasting at dinner, what that should look like, also has young kids. So I'm going to answer it from that perspective. I think that we should be so used to fasting that we can do it without getting in a bad mood, and we can do it as we go on. We don't have to make like a big deal about it, but at the same time, our family can know that she's just not eating tonight. So normally in the past, in this group, we have ended our fast at sundown. The early church, in fact, did that too. It was sun up to sundown on Wednesdays and Fridays, is what the historians say. And we've kind of done something very, very similar to that, but we are building. And within 24 to 36 hours, you start to get cellular repair. It's actually 19 to 36 hours. You start to get cellular repair going on, and those benefits of fasting. And so I believe that may be part of why the Lord is asking us to do that, or gearing us up for a longer fast, a little bit more of the stifling of the flesh. Dinner time would look like any other dinner time. You still spend it with your family, have a cup of water, have a hot cup of tea if you're doing tea, no caffeine or anything, just some herbal tea, and sit with your family and chit chat. Now, this is what I've always said in the past, and what I'll say again. If you find that the grace is lifted and people in your household are dreading when you're fasting, you need to go back with the Lord and say, okay, what is required of me in this season? Do I need to push through, or should I be eating by dinner time? I never suggest fasting past the grace. You can fast through the flesh, but there's a grace when you walk in the Spirit. And if you're unable to kind of stifle the flesh enough that you can't act normal, probably get alone with the Lord before we subject our whole families to fasting. Okay. So you figure that out with the Lord. You can watch some of the old teachings on fasting. Again, we've been going after this a couple of years now. So we're a little bit further along as a group. But another thing that I had to start looking at, oh, and you also asked, Casey, if you're supposed to like go away to pray while you're fasting. You know, fasting without prayer is just a diet. We also need to be thinking about others and giving our time and our energy and resources to the poor and less fortunate while we're fasting. We can put up some teaching about that. But when we start fasting and we're doing it on a regular basis, we are not going to be in prayer 24/7 when we have to work, and during those meal times necessarily when we have a family to take care of. So I believe that family always comes first. And if you've been around me for any length of time, you know how kind of my rhythm with the Lord works is that I get up early and pray in the morning. Some of you guys are afternooners or at night, depends on your watchman hours. Okay. So there's no shame. There's no condemnation. If you're an early morning person, work that out with the Lord. If you're an evening person, work that out with the Lord. But there's no reason to set your family's food down and walk away and be like, I need to be in prayer, unless the Lord is absolutely prompting you. I believe that family comes first, and it just looks like you having a conversation. I mean, really, as moms, we are not sitting down and eating a full meal with our families often. We're getting a spoon or grabbing the butter or grabbing, you know what I'm saying? We're up and down quite a bit. What I notice is that my family doesn't notice. So unless I'm in a bad mood. Let's see, do we pick the days? Oh, yes. Thank you, Michaela. Good question. So yes, I wanted you to pick the days, but I'm also prepared to tell you guys my days. After some prayer and seeking the Lord, my days are going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think I just mentioned the early church was Wednesdays and Fridays. You guys get to pick your days. I would suggest that you look at your schedule, and we're not taking off exercising. We're not taking off taking care of our families. We're doing it all. So you're not spending the day in bed and in prayer. So look at your schedule over the month and make a commitment. I would suggest, this is not a hard, everything is between you and the Lord, okay? Like I tell my kids, I'm like, we're on the honor system, so we do that with bedtime and stuff during break. I'm like, this is what I would prefer, but honestly, I'm not checking up on you, and I'm not checking up on you guys too. Y'all know that my goal as a mentor and as kind of a mama is to give you a blueprint and to encourage you and to give you tools but I'm not super hands-on. And part of that is just the season that I am in. And I think it might be a gift because sometimes it's nice to have support, but other times it's easy to fall into rebellion if you feel like someone's like up your neck about stuff. So is that even a word, up your neck? But yeah, so go ahead and pick your dates. If you want to do it with me, I'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays. My husband's off work on Wednesdays, and we normally try to do a little date day of some sort, or even just a couple of hours. And sometimes that includes food. So that is my non-spiritual reason for not choosing Wednesdays and Fridays. But I hope that starts to answer some questions. I know for me, when I was trying to prepare, so it was like I got some new walking running shoes months ago, and I've got them worn in. I noticed my knees and my hips were a little bit funky, and it wasn't like an issue of prayer. It was an issue of I needed more foam in my shoes. So I got new shoes. That was important to me. What else? Learned how to make bread over the last couple of months. Oh, I know what else I got. I asked for Christmas. I haven't had AirPods that worked in years. And so I asked for some AirPods, and then I downloaded the app Audible. So good morning, Diane. So because I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do like to see what everybody's up to on social media. So I knew that would be a big break for me if we're not doing social media at all, and then also limited screen time. So I'm also planning to get together with some people in person. I know, shocker, and really making some time for that. Really stuff that I should probably be doing all along, but life gets busy and some things are more convenient than others. So let's see, Audible, so I can listen to books. And I find YouTube, especially if you've got the, this is super practical. Are y'all okay with super practical? If y'all don't have just, I've got like the regular YouTube, so I get commercials all the time. And if I look at my phone to change it, sometimes I get caught up and start looking at my phone. So over the last 24 hours, it hasn't been long, I'm finding that I'm really enjoying an audiobook. And, yeah, so that I think will help kick the habit. A lot of this is just kicking our fleshly habits. Let's see. Oh, I needed to find an alternative to salad dressing and mayo. So if you look at your mayonnaise, you go down to the ingredients. The first one is soybean oil. And we are not doing soybean oil. So I have not found one yet, but I have found that what I like is not going to work for us for 25 days. So I've got to do probably like an avocado oil mayo. I realize that you can make your own mayo really easily, but it just doesn't last very long. And I'm just not the type. If I'm making bread and doing all these other things, I'm probably not going to like home make my own mayo. I have found, I got a really high quality olive oil, and just kind of messing around with a little mustard and olive oil, salt and pepper, making my own salad dressing. So those were things that I did to prepare. So you're going to want to make sure that you go grocery shopping before we get started on January 1st. Just look at what you're eating and be like, okay, what has to go for this? Now, another thing too is you don't have to do all of this. I've had several people reach out and they're like, well, I've got a commitment through this other ministry to be on social media. That's between you and the Lord. Don't feel like you can't participate if you've got other things going on. Flavored vinegars. Oh, that's a great idea. There's a place down here by me near downtown Woodstock that has really great olive oil and vinegars. I'm going to swing by and look at some vinegars. That is awesome. Yeah, you see, this is why I like doing this in a group. Let's see. So yeah, you don't have to do all of this. You can do some of this. You can do this without even being on the GroupMe. Now the GroupMe, I'm going to give some direction with the GroupMe. It is going to start January 1st, but it is already up. Okay, it is already up. You can already join it. I'm going to give you some specific directions. I'm asking everyone, if you're on the GroupMe, you can always do this totally by yourself. But if you are on the GroupMe, I'm going to ask you to post once a day. Okay, and what you're going to post once a day is a picture of what you've chosen instead of screens, or picture of your workout, or a meal. Okay. Now, if it's really good, you can post all 3 in one day, but that is what I'm going to ask to post once a day. What you've chosen instead of screen time, your workout, and a meal. The GroupMe is there for us to stay connected and be inspired. Really the point of social media. But it gets so distracting, doesn't it? So to limit the clutter in the GroupMe, we are not doing prayer requests randomly. We will only do prayer requests on Wednesdays. And then instead of a bunch of responses underneath, you can heart it. Now, if you have a word for the person or you want to reach out, DM them privately, but that's how that is going to go. If you have questions, DM me directly with questions. If it's for the group, I will either post it or we will cover it in some of our scheduled Zoom meetings, okay? So we will have a couple Zoom meetings. The Lord has been giving me some dates. As of right now, it's looking like the first Zoom is going to be that very first Wednesday at 5 p.m. for 30 minutes. We're going to meet up that next Thursday at 10 a.m. And the last Friday of the 25 days, I believe that we're going to get together here. I'll give you these dates out a little bit more at my house from 6 to 8 p.m. So we've got an in-person, a Zoom, and what else? First Wednesday, in-person, 2 in-persons and a Zoom, okay? Planned as of right now. So prayer requests on Wednesdays, respond privately or just heart it. Let's see. Yeah, and then if there's anything that comes up, just go ahead and heart it again so it doesn't get cluttered, and then respond to the person privately. I don't want the GroupMe to be a headache. And if you want connection and want to reach out, go ahead and privately reach out. Let's see. Once you've watched. Perfect. Okay, so, and then in the GroupMe today, what I'm going to ask is once you've watched this live and asked all your questions, if you will heart my my comment once you've watched this live. So I will do that. Okay, so basically we're talking no restaurants. I don't think there's any room for restaurants. Prayer, we may do a Zoom prayer throughout it, but I think we've covered that for Wednesdays. You know, we're still a Bible study group at the end of the day. So the expectation is that you're continuing to meet with the Lord as you've done for your whole Christian walk. This does not replace that. This is just covering something in the realm of the body, okay? And then I think we talked about the meetup. So yeah, so for the first portion of 2024, the Lord has given the mandate to cover the things in the body. There's a lot that we can do still in the spirit. There's a lot of doctrine that we can get right. There's a lot of things that we can uncover. But if we're not feeling great in our body and we're not consistent with it, I just am not sure that we're going to be able to get where we want to get. So I know for me, I like to do things in a group. I like you guys. I think it's fun. I like to hang out and I like to have a buddy. Maybe that's the only child in me, but I love to do things in a group. And statistically speaking, you'll have better results if you've got people to do it with. So this is why we are tackling things in the body. So we are going to fast 2 days a week. We're going to fast whichever 2 days you want. If you want to do it with me, I am Tuesdays and Thursdays. The early church did Wednesdays and Fridays. We are fasting 24 to 36 hours as instruction from the Lord, but I have a feeling it's got to do with cellular repair. Your body starts to go into repair mode at that point. And we are building. If you have never fasted before, go watch the previous teachings from almost 2 years ago on fasting. We have been building up to this with sunrise to sunset fastings and things. And this is the next level. Okay. So we are not doing restaurants. We are not doing foods that inflame the body. I'm assuming that we are not drinking alcohol. I hope that is a given at this point in your spiritual journey with the Lord. But if you are, go ahead and plan to cut that out. Okay. Go ahead and cut out all refined sugars. There is no need for it. We are doing God's candy. We are doing fruit. We are doing honey. We are doing real maple syrup. We are doing real food. You can call me the stick of butter mama because I am going to go ahead and cook with butter. I'm going to cook with coconut oil. I'm going to cook with real food. We are going to limit caffeine to 1 serving a day and dairy. So keep that in mind when you're cooking, and dairy to 1 serving a day. Okay. Caffeine can mess you up, and dairy for sure can if you are eating too much. Okay. If you can fit in 5 cups of veggies a day, I think that is a great thing to do. Grab yourself a bunch of water every day. I know I've got like my water, my 40-ounce water thing. And I know that if I fill that up 3 times, that's about a gallon. So that is kind of my goal or my measure every single day. I will make a couple more graphics, but do not be afraid to sit down and get with the Lord and say, okay, she said no social media, no inflammatory foods, no seed oils, limiting my caffeine. Like, it's too much. And if this is too much and you've not been going through this process with us, that is okay. It's okay to be new, or it's okay to just being started. If you know me, in my everyday life, I am a baby step kind of girl. I'm coming up on 12 years walking with the Lord, 12 years sober, and I have not been fully delivered that whole time. Thank you, Jesus, for deliverance. So that just kind of got me sidetracked. I feel like somebody in here, thank you, Jesus. I feel like somebody in here is actually needing deliverance, but they're actually going to just try to diet really hard. If you feel that so much of your personality has been wrapped up in doing the right thing and following the rules and being the life of the party, I want you to know that deliverance is your portion and freedom is your portion. That this reset 2024 will do nothing if you don't renew your mind and get deliverance and really sit with the Lord. So please don't take this for that. It's an all kind of thing. The mandate for Women of War in 2024 is body, soul, and spirit. We are going back over deliverance next year. We are going to hit it harder than we've ever hit it, believe it or not. But right now, I'm going to teach you how to take care of your body. And then we're going to talk about the health of the soul and relationships in our lives before we hit it again. But just don't hesitate to reach out if you find yourself trying to rule follow and people pleasing over the next 25 days, okay? That's the goal, is that things that are bubbling up underneath the surface will surface because there's no distractions and no extra. And your body's not having to fight itself every time you have a meal. It's all connected. We've got to get down to the bottom of things. I showed you the peanut butter, right? Did I show you the hot sauce? This is all stuff that we're not having. Get down to the basics. Look over. You can find peanut butter. By the way, at Aldi's, it has a green lid that you can have. Just crushed peanuts. Over the next couple of days, look in your cabinet and say, what do I eat? What do I eat when I'm hungry, when I'm in a hurry? What do I eat when I'm PMSing? What do I eat when I'm happy? What do I eat when I'm sad? What do I eat in 25 days? Flip it over and look at the ingredients. The Lord will give you strategy for this if you press in, but if you do it halfway, you'll be here this time next month. And I don't want that for you. I don't believe that we actually have the time to waste. I believe that the time is short, and we'll know within a few months why the Lord is asking us to take care of our bodies. I've known 2 people that have died this week, personally, from issues of the flesh. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's preventable. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. Let's make sure we're taking care of our bodies. And I'm preaching to myself here too. Let's make sure. Let's make sure. But we're not doing a crash diet. We're not doing it like you did it last time. We're not doing it. We're not cutting calories. We're not weighing ourselves. We're not worrying about any of that stuff. We're getting the inflammation out of our bodies. We are not going to mindlessly eat. We are going to practice the spiritual discipline of fasting. We're going to exercise. Y'all know that's part of it, right? Every single day, a minimum of 30 minutes. And if you can do it in the sunlight, even better. We're going to make sure that we get some sleep. Between 10 and 2 a.m. is the most important part for your immune function. Don't go to bed late and sleep in. It's not good for your body. I know some of y'all are on a different rhythm, but unless the Lord signs off on it, get some sleep. Get some good sleep. Let your body go into deep rest. The Lord wants to give you dreams. Another thing I think I mentioned that I had to do to get my phone out of my bedroom was get an actual alarm clock. So if you haven't watched, I've got this shirt on in another live, and then a pink jacket on in another live. If you haven't watched those two, go watch those two. You got this one down. If you've got any other questions, let me know, but I will be planning to spend most of the weekend with the family, so ask them quick. And then the group me, I gave some directions about that. In the other room, yeah. I actually even took my phone charger out of my bedroom. So my phone charger is in the other room, and I had to get really good. For a while, I had to use my cell phone and the alarm clock. I had to use both because sometimes I would like hit the snooze. Like not the snooze. I would try to hit the snooze and I would like turn the whole thing off. So if you've got a job or anything, make sure that you like really feel confident in how you're using it when you're half asleep. But there's strategy for all of this. Does anybody else have any questions before we go? I was on here a little bit longer than I planned. I feel so passionate about this. I'm so excited. Like I am so excited about this. And honestly, I'm not even really sure why. Like I said, I am not in my most svelte shape right now. I have been doing this for almost 22 years. And for some reason, I'm just really, really excited for us to do this together. I think I told you I was going to save some of this content that I've been studying to do something for Coach Ryan, like for business, you know, and for my clients and for future clients, and do something online. And the Lord was like, no, the people of God, they need this. Let's do it for free. Let's offer, yes, I agree, Diane. Let's offer all the knowledge and all the support for your ladies. Like who better to do this for? So I want you to know that, this is a labor of love. And if you have questions, don't feel like you're alone. But if you can Google it, Google your questions. And just don't go all the way in until we've got the basics. That would be my best advice. We're revival girls. We're all or nothing kind of people. We're all in the kingdom of God. And sometimes we'll like pretty soon someone's going to call me and they're like, well, I bought a cow, you know, and I'm like, okay. But there's very, very healthy ways that we could live and operate. But I believe in starting with baby steps so we make sure that we're consistent, okay? And we're building on a firm foundation and our family's on board. You know what I'm saying? Like all of those things. So if y'all don't have any other questions right now, I am going to hop off. I'm very excited. Can I say that one more time? Like very, very excited. If you are having issues that come up, that's why the first Wednesday we're going to have a Zoom call, because I have a feeling we're going to need to troubleshoot as we go. Some of you may have like the best sleep you've ever had, or you won't sleep at all. Some of you will just get super, super antsy or irritable. Like there might be things that start to come forth. So I want you to know that I'm available. We've got, Jenny is in the middle of moving, and Marsha Ann is not doing deliverance right now. If you find that you need ministry, reach out. Obviously, best case scenario, you're going to your local church and getting ministry. But if you are unable to do that, please don't live with this junk that starts to move forward, okay? So anyways, I am going to hop off. Something is bursting forth. Yeah, I can't stop reading that. Yeah, it's, I'm in great anticipation. I was hopeful. I just bought this new, and then I'll go. This is off too. There's really, the sauces are the things that probably are going to throw me the most. So just be prepared to, eat simply, which is not a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing to eat simply. So we're just going to train our taste buds. We're going to train our flesh for 25 days. We've got this. Love y'all. Bye.